Let's explore shell script functions. In this video, we will learn how to create and use functions in shell scripts to make our code more modular and efficient. Functions are reusable blocks of code that perform specific tasks within shell scripts. The use of functions allows for modular code organization. This means that your script is divided into smaller, manageable parts, making it easier to understand and maintain. Functions promote code reusability, allowing you to use the same block of code multiple times without rewriting it. Functions make maintenance easier. If you need to change a piece of code, you only need to modify it in one place. Functions improve readability. By breaking your script into named functions, you make it easier to follow the logic and purpose of your code. Here are two common syntax styles for defining functions in shell scripts. Style number 1 uses the function keyword. You start by typing the word function, followed by the name you want to give your function, then parentheses. Inside the curly braces, you put the commands that the function will execute. Style number 2 is without the function keyword. You simply start with the function name, followed by parentheses, and then the commands inside curly braces. Both syntax styles are functionally the same. Style number 2 is more portable, meaning it is more likely to work across different types of shells. Functions must be defined before they are called or used in the script. Function names should be descriptive and follow naming conventions to improve readability. The curly braces are required to define the beginning and end of the function's body. Let's examine how to call or execute functions in shell scripts. First, we define a simple greeting function. We start by defining a function named say_hello. When called, this function will print the message, hello, welcome to shell scripting. Next, we define a function with a message. We define another function named show_date. This function will display the current date in the year, month, and day format. Now let's call the functions. To call the functions, simply type their names in your script like say_hello and show_date. Key points to remember. Functions are called by simply using their name. Functions must be defined before they are called. There are no parentheses needed when calling functions. Best practices to keep in mind. Use descriptive function names to clearly indicate what the function does. Keep functions focused on a single task to improve modularity. Group related functions together in your script to enhance organization. Let's learn about function parameters. Here's an example of passing parameters to functions. We define a function named greet. This function takes one parameter and prints a greeting message including the provided name. Next, we create another function named welcome_user. This function takes two parameters, a username and a topic. It prints a welcome message including the username and the topic. Now let's call the functions with parameters. We call the greet function with the parameter John, and the welcome_user function with the parameters Sarah and shell scripting. Let's discuss parameter usage. Access parameters inside the function with $1, $2, and so on. $0 refers to the script name itself. $# holds the number of parameters passed to the function. $@ represents all the parameters. Use quotes when passing parameters that contain spaces to ensure they are treated as a single argument. Now let's explore function return values. Functions can return both a status code and output data. First, we'll look at how to return a status code. We define a function named check_number. If the number passed as a parameter is greater than 10, it returns 0, indicating success. Otherwise, it returns 1, indicating failure. Next, let's return output via echo. We define a function named get_date that uses the date command to get the current date in year, month, and day format. Now let's explore different ways to return data. The first way is using a return status code. You can use the return keyword followed by a number between 0 and 255. By convention, 0 indicates success, and any other value indicates an error or failure. The second way is by using echo output. Use the echo command to output data from the function. This output can be captured using command substitution. The third way is by utilizing global variables. You can set a global variable within a function, which can then be accessed outside the function. Now let's dive into variable scope within functions. We'll explore the difference between global and local variables. First, we define a global variable named global_var and set its value to I am global. Next, we define a function named test_scope. Inside this function, we create a variable named local_var and assign it the value I am local. We then print the values of both the global and local variables from within the function. After calling the function, we attempt to print both variables outside the function. Let's understand variable scope further. Global variables are defined outside of functions. They can be accessed from anywhere in the script, including inside functions. Local variables, by default, variables defined inside a function are global. However, you can use the local keyword to limit the variable's scope to the function itself. As a best practice, it's always recommended to use the local keyword for function variables. This prevents unintended side effects and avoids naming conflicts. Let's focus on using local variables within functions. Here's an example demonstrating how to declare local variables. We create a function named calculate_area. Inside this function, we declare the variables length, width, and area as local using the local keyword. We then calculate the area and print the result. When calling the function, we pass the values 5 and 10 as arguments to calculate_area. After the function call, the variables length, width, and area are no longer accessible outside the function. Here are the benefits of using local variables. Local variables prevent name conflicts with variables used in the main script. They improve code maintainability and readability by making the code easier to follow. Local variables reduce bugs that can occur from unintended variable modifications. Local variables make functions more self-contained and reusable in different contexts. Local variables assist with debugging by limiting the scope in which variables can be modified. Always use the local keyword for variables that should only exist within the function to ensure proper scope management and avoid unintended side effects. Let's review some best practices to follow when working with functions. Firstly, use descriptive names. Choose clear and descriptive function names that indicate exactly what the function does. For example, name a function as calculate_average so that anyone can understand by just looking at the name of the function. Secondly, make sure each function has a single responsibility. Each function should do one thing and do it well. Break complex tasks down into smaller, more manageable functions. Thirdly, use local variables. Always use the local keyword for variables defined inside functions to avoid unintended side effects. Fourthly, document your functions. Add comments explaining what the function does, what parameters it accepts, and what values it returns. Fifthly, implement error handling. Include proper error checking and return appropriate exit codes to handle potential issues gracefully. Lastly, maintain a consistent style. Follow a consistent naming convention and coding style throughout your scripts to enhance readability and maintainability. Well-designed functions make your shell scripts more maintainable, reusable, and easier to debug, ultimately leading to more efficient and reliable code. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.